So, one of the things I see too many guys struggle with, and it's an old pattern, it's an old habit that I think is a tradition from a generation or two ago, is not knowing how to have deep, meaningful conversations with our wives and people who matter most. And not even about the deep things. We get upset if we're asked about anything in our life. Where were you? How long will you be? When can I expect you home? What about the money? Anything. Like, we get to where we react and shut stuff down because I think we're not mature enough to have these conversations. So we rely on anger and negative things to kind of control things we're not good at. And the guys I work with learn how to have deeper connections, especially with their spouse, their wife, the family, the kids, but also with friends and other people, because we're created to have deep connection. We just, if we hang out with other men like ourselves, all we ever talk about is, how's it going? Good. How are you? I'm good. And we never get past that. So when we get home, I used to feel attacked when my wife would say, hey, I want to talk about. Now, I've been out doing concrete construction all day back then, and she was working in a bank, and she would think about stuff. I was working with felons and crazy guys all day long. We're just cussing and getting it done. I walk in and she says, hey, we need to talk about, or I want to talk about. It would catch me off guard, and it would trigger me to where, no fault of her own, I would feel attacked. And once I feel attacked, I go into fight mode, like triggered, like, not on my watch. We're not doing this. And I got, to where my anger was being used in really wrong ways, not physically toward her, but, slam my hand on a table or punch a wall or whatever. And I had control of a conversation now, but there was no conversation. It got shut down. She would walk away. And eventually the conclusion was, don't bring it up. Don't talk to him about anything. And so what happens? The things that bind us together end up becoming the very things we drift apart on, all because I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to control my anger and my emotions. I didn't know how to have conversations about things that were tied to our marriage, tied to our future, tied to everything. And so I resorted to stupid stuff. And I made a decision one day after really pressing her buttons that I had to learn to communicate. And thankfully now, 38 years later, I'm way past those things. But this is what I help guys with, because we've inherited a model that anger is good and anything else is deemed weakness. And so we will display anger, but no other emotion. And anytime we feel attacked or feel caught off guard or feel like you're getting in my business here, we react in stupid ways, and you don't know it, but it's actually diminishing your marriage. It's diminishing your ability to have real deep connections with people who matter the most to you. So if you find you're hiding, if you find like there are things that you don't want to be asked about, you don't like talking about, I promise they're being somehow having a negative impact in your relationship. And going a little deeper, if you find like there are things your wife no longer asks you about, it's not because it's good. It's because she's concluded it's not worth the damage. It's not worth the upheaval. It's not worth the fallout. So she just quit asking, or other people in our life have quit asking. And we're going around with this wall around our heart that leads to this distance emotionally and mentally, spiritually to others, and don't realize like we caused that. And so anyway, if you find like you're shutting stuff down, or you bail, or you walk away, or there's no depth to your conversations, it's really worth exploring like what has happened in you that now is a truth in your life. If you ever want help figuring this out, reach out to me. This is what I help guys with.